All right, all right. Here's part two. Here's part two, bitches. Yeah. Yo, got the. I never know how to pronounce it. Atsatsuki drip. Red cloud. You know what I'm saying? Red cloud out here. Yo, considering they're the bad guys, like they get all the fashion looks from Naruto. They get all the fashion looks. Real because it's like, how many people out here have seen like a hidden leaf jacket? No, you only see these type of jackets. You know what I'm saying? Hey, people fuck with the bad guys. Ladies want the bad boys, right? I think it's the same. The Naruto fans, they want the red cloud. Oh boy. Okay, so part two. Part one just happened, although they will be released at different times. But let's get into part two, folks. So smiling at fear and fear and fear and fear. Like, for example, let's just talk about artists, because I love artists and I was just hanging out with a whole bunch. Shout out to Sully Net and Patrick Williams and the rest of the A Little Bit of Death Gang. It's over there at Theater Works. Trabajo de Teatro. I'm working on my Espanol. See. No. See. No. See. So, in terms of fear and going to the unknown, this is why people appreciate artists. Or this is my theory, if you didn't guess it. This is why people appreciate artists as much as they do, because artists go into the unknown, right? Did that painting exist before they painted it? No. They went into the unknown and made that shit up in the best possible way. They went into the unknown and they created from the unknown, right? This is what the imagination is. The imagination is the imagination. It's like, ooh, yeah, we're gonna, yep, bread, mayonnaise, ooh, chili peppers, and a taco on top of a monster truck. I'm gonna paint that. That's what just came up in my imagination, folks. Now, if you are going to relish in being afraid of the unknown, they'd be like, oh, no, I can't. What? A monster truck with what on top? No, that I can't paint that. People won't understand. It's too unknown. Or what the fuck your inner monologue is saying not to do. But also look at it from your ego perspective. Your ego is a player hater. It's always going to be like, nah, don't do that shit, right? It wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you happy. So things that go outside your comfort zone, things that are in the unknown, ooh, they're a challenge to the ego. And this is why you need to make friends with your ego. You need to make friends with your fears. What are your fears? Make friends with them. What are you most afraid of right now? Make a fucking list. I will stop right now for 1 minute so you can make a goddamn list of your fears. But not even necessarily your fears like, oh, I'm afraid of a wolf biting my fucking nuts off. Okay. That's a semi-legitimate fear. I don't know how semi-legitimate it is, but, I don't know your life. Maybe you work with wolves and they're always nipping at your balls or clit. Let's be, tolerant. There could be lady wolf trainers and the wolves want to bite their labia. I don't train wolves, folks. Why are you looking at me like that, folks? Okay, I'm not a wolf trainer. I'm just talking about scenarios where someone's labia or balls may be attacked by a wolf, and that's a legitimate fear. Okay, you don't have to give me that look. You don't have to give me that glance. I see you over there, Gladys, with that look. Jesus, Gladys. Anyways, so make a list of your fucking fears. What are you fucking afraid of? What are you afraid of? And tangential to this is make a list of what do you want to do in life. And like see. Okay, because here's how I'll explain it. Let's say you're like, I want to do these things in my life, right? And then, okay, so that's your list of your vision, your goals, whatever you want to fucking call it, right? Put that aside. Then you have a list of your fears, right? And fear, again, it could be more about the unknowns you don't want to delve into. As another way of reframing it. Because fear, you just gotta say that. Fear, fear, fear. You always gotta say it. But what does that mean? It's such a individualized experience. That's why fear is not the best word. Because, again, in my own experience, it's more about me not wanting to explore the unknown, that I have a fear of something. And so that will usually manifest in me just doing something comfortable. Ooh, listening to music on YouTube. Very comfortable. Okay. Oh, I don't have to do that unknown activity. Oh, great. And it's not that necessarily I conceptualize it like that, but when, whole days gone by or whole evenings gone by and I haven't done that thing, and I was like, oh, we're going to do that thing when we get home. And then we don't do the thing. Well, what other conclusion can one draw? Right? When I had ample opportunity to do the thing, well, it's like, seems like I distracted myself with something comfortable to not do the uncomfortable unknown thing. Oh, okay. And this is kind of just a way I've kind of reframed, again, the fear of doing things, not being necessarily like I started to do the thing and I'm like, I can't do the thing, I'm afraid. But then But instead, you just don't do the thing and staying in the areas that are very comfortable and very safe and very, easy peasy, So staying in that place with one's just comfort or lack of discomfort is arguably one of the ways that you can just not grow yourself. Non-growing is from that shit. Because, there's a quote back there. You can see over my, not that shoulder, that shoulder. It's funny because it's when it's reversed. But if you see right there, yeah, that's a quote that I found. A quote that I discovered. That's better. Quote from the internet. It's the internet's quote. The internet has sole rights to that quote, where it says, "If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you." And I really subscribe to that notion, because what experience, what has happened to you that didn't challenge you but had a profound impact on you? Because, I don't know, because usually it doesn't go hand in hand where it's profound impact and, it was easy. That's usually not how those things line up. It's usually profound impacts, probably profound challenge, or medium impact, medium challenge. But I don't want to assume these things. But, if something's a challenge, that's when we look back and we're like, ooh, wow, I did that? That was something. But I proved something to myself. I learned something about myself. I am able to overcome. I am able to that. I am able to face myself and face my fears and face the unknown. And that's the benefit of challenging oneself, is because if you're challenging oneself, you're inherently, I don't know what it's about when I do videos, but my nose gets so itchy. I have no idea why. And this happened numerous times over the past few years of doing videos, but really until this moment, I didn't necessarily make a correlation with it. But now I'm like, oh, this only, like, when I'm just not doing videos, I don't itch my nose this much. I'm not always itching my nose. Like, what is it about videos that, I don't know. I have no idea, but man, my nose just gets so itchy. Oh man, it's so weird. Anyways, it's the spirits. Shout out to the spirits. It's coming through my nose. making their presence known. So spirits, ancestors, shout out to you for your itchy noseness. So, the more you process your own fear and what makes you stuck, the more you can just really kind of understand more of who and what you are, right? And who and what you are, not from like, oh, I'm a human being on Earth. No, you're a specific, whatever you want to fucking call it. What's the word? You're a specific character, right? Personality, however you want to talk about it. Your constitution, even better word. And just describing, understanding what you're about, right? Because only you can figure that out. I got news for you. Your mammy can't figure that out. What was that? That was weird. If anyone on the video saw that was interesting. It was like looks like a little dust speck, but it was very strange. Maybe it was an ancestor floating by. Anyways, you just have to, you don't have to do shit, actually. It's helpful, or it's helped me to just deal with that fear and just understand when it comes up. And understand when it comes up for you, because when it comes up for me, it's going to be different from when it comes up for you. Now, there's very common situations that are going to lead someone to be like, the unknown, public speaking. Like, the excerpt I read in the last part. Public speaking is one, but that's a funny one where actually I don't even mind public speaking. I'm one of those people. And further I go, like my trajectory in life, assuming there's not a strange shift in trajectory, it's to be on stage talking shit, making insightful points. Somewhere between a philosopher, a stand-up comedian, a social worker, and I don't know, like a late night host for like a late night, TV show. Late night. What are those called? Late night show? A late night? What are those shows called? A late night show? Are they just called that? A late night? Oh yeah, that late night TV show. Because what were they? David Letterman. What were they? What did you call those shows? That late TV show that's on at 11 and later. I guess I don't know. But the point is, folks, that the further I go, the further I just really just understand the importance of dealing with your fear and just really understanding how it makes you stop and when it makes you stop and why it makes you stop. Because you're not gonna, until you deal with that, you're gonna just be kind of just halfway home. It's always be something gnawing at you. And this is something that, this is a lifelong journey, dealing with fear and fear of oneself. And let's even just talk about that for a second. Why would one fear themselves? I've talked about this before in other videos, but let's bring it up again. Why would you fear yourself? Well, there's many reasons. You could fear yourself because you fear just that you're not good enough. Let's just air that one out. Let that sit out there. You just feel you're not good enough. You feel that, again, like I was saying before, that everyone else out there has it figured out, but you don't have it figured out. You're not going to have it figured out, So just kind of just feeling that you just can't, not even that you don't want to have your shit together. It's like you can't. It's just not in the cards for you, right? So that's one aspect of not, of fearing oneself, is just Just like me, nah. That's success, mental health, wellness. Nah, that's not. No, that's me. That's not me. Just being afraid of just who you are fundamentally. I think, honestly, I think that's sometimes why people don't want to learn about themselves, because they're afraid of what they might find out. Oh my God, I like olives. Fuck olives. That's why I say fuck olives, people. Okay, all right. If you're watching this right now and you like olives, turn this goddamn video off. You are banned from watching my material. Okay, that's how serious my disdain for olives are. You can't even watch my videos, you olive eaters. Actually, you know what? You should watch my videos, because obviously there's some sort of imbalance going on in your mind where you eat olives and you think that's a good decision. So you know what? Keep watching this video. So hopefully one day you'll figure out your life. You'd be like, you know what? I was wilding. Why was I eating all those olives? Man, Posh was right. Olives are terrible. So keep tuning in, and hopefully you can heal yourself from your affliction of eating olives, because those shits are gross. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to fear. So, for me, I'm afraid of olives. You see, I lost my train of thought now. All my olive rants. All of them. See what I did there? So, just being in a place where you understand yourself deeper and deeper, then you'll have less and less reason to fear yourself, because it's like, oh, I know, even if you behave in a certain way, you can at least be aware of like, oh, this is why I'm avoiding this. This is why I don't want to go to that thing. This is why I'm choosing to do this versus that, right? Like for me, an interesting epiphany recently was, with exercise. Like I've been doing this fruit feast thing, although past few days I've had non-fruit. And, I'm being compassionate and graceful to myself. But, this is something I'm impressive. Like, well, why did I give in to my cravings, right? But that's not the point of why I brought this up. The reason I brought this up is that, just being aware of what your triggers are and what... there's a great quote, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad dude, and it's, hold on, I have it written over there. Can I read it from here? Oh man, where is it? Oh man, what is it? It's, it's gonna piss me off. It's, Oh man, what is it? Okay, I just had to go and look at it. Hold on. Okay. All right. So here's the quote. So it's fear gets you out of the house and desire calls your name, right? And I always thought that was such a poignant way of just so much shit that people go through is from that equation, right? Because, okay, so let's say the fear, the unknown is, because, okay, in that book he was talking about financially, right? He was talking about finances and financial mindset, right? So let's keep it in that context. I'm not sure in the book where he used that quote and for what purpose, but let's keep it in financial. So the fear, right, is, oh, I'm not going to have enough money for my family this month, right? And so that gets you out the house, right? And then maybe the desire is like, ooh, I gotta make some money quickly for this month or whatever. And then maybe, you get caught up in a get rich quick scheme or some sort of scam or something, right? It was the fear of your finances that got you in the position to desire more, and then obviously put you in a position where you're like thought, some scam was a good idea or whatever. But it was the fear, right? It was the unknown of that situation that even got you out of the house in the first place to put you on a track to desire, quick money and that sort of thing, and obviously it blows up in your face. But yeah, that's often the 1-2 punch is the fear and the desire, right? That's why just as much as you have to deal with fear in your life, you have to deal with your desires, right? And for me, that one, that's something that it's funny. It's funny, someone who's read a lot of Buddhism and read a lot of cold sheet of spiritual shit. I've come to a very interesting conclusion recently. We often think about like, oh, this and that, and just all these sort of tricks, all these sort of schemes for us to, I guess, live up to the potential that we want, for lack of better phrasing, right? And I've come to a conclusion that it's really just about just like doing it. There's no real trick to it. There is no real trick to it. And as someone who's when you think all these books, and I got all these books on all different things related to this, but the one thing, or one of the main things I've come as a conclusion from all these books, especially Buddhist books, is it's about dealing with your fears. It's about just dealing with your fears, right? That I could like literally sum up so many Buddhist books just with that. Especially books like Chogyam Trungpa, like that's like par for the course. Is like, are you smiling at fear? So just dealing with the unknowns and the fears, just on the front end, it helps you just not be in situations where you're going to get run by your desires, because that's also a problem. Is like you have these fears and these, just these problematic ways of looking at your reality, or toxic ways of looking at your reality. And then, you desire your reality to be better. So then you're going to go about it in a backwards way that probably is in the long term not going to make things better, and probably going to make you feel worse, because you're doing it with a basis of fear, you're doing it with a basis of anxiety, you're doing it with a basis of just desiring, just not feeling shitty, in a sort of backwards way. It's like, I don't want to feel shitty, and that's not that's a valid emotional, psychological thing to think. It's like, I feel shitty. I don't want to feel shitty. Oh, okay. Well, that's valid. But when it comes to the place of going about it and, figuring out, okay, where do I go from that thought? That's where it can get tricky. That's where it can get, we'll double down in our unknown desires out of fear basis. We'll create more problems at the end of the day. So yeah, just smiling at that fear is really, really vital. And I don't want to make this too long. I'm going to keep doing a series on these because it's just so important. And, frankly, if we're going to talk about dealing with fear and comfort and unknown, is like me and teaching, me and sitting here and doing these videos, because somewhere along the way, I delude myself about like I need to learn more before I can like teach more or something like that. But that's not true, because first of all, you're always learning, right? But there's a lot of stuff that I've studied and learned, and I've synthesized, and I've that's grown in my mind to my own interpretation that is worth sharing, right? Now, maybe the stuff that I've learned recently or I'm studying recently, maybe it's not time to share that. But there's plenty of stuff that is well past time to share. And it actually took me kind of watching some videos recently to remind me of that, because when I think about moving on after this life and the potential of coming back, right? With regrets and things like that, and leaving with no regrets. I had an honest conversation with myself the other day where it's like, if I keep on this trajectory, there would be two reasons why I would come back. And it's one, I didn't teach enough when I had plenty of opportunities to do as such, and two, I didn't push myself outside of my comfort zone enough. And, once I kind of hit on those two things, I was like, oh, okay. I understood, because like for me, it's unacceptable. One video a month, that's unacceptable to me. When I have plenty of time and I have plenty of thoughts and insights about so many topics that could be beneficial to so many people. And it's not even saying that I have any unique point of view that doesn't exist out there. But, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, there's not going to be a point where it's like, oh, people talking about like insightful spiritual occult topics. Oh, we're full, like there's always such a need for that. And, I kind of have been, I don't know what the word is. I just haven't been, classic archetype that I've used many times for myself is reluctant teacher, and this kind of comes more from me not feeling confident in what I know than thinking that I don't know enough. Because if you have a conversation with me, I know plenty about plenty of things, and most of it's insightful. Most of it is something very interesting and insightful. So I know it's something else at play, and the more I kind of analyze the fear, or again, I'm not even going to frame it as fear of this. It's more of my lack of wanting to go in the unknown of it than it is necessarily like I'm afraid of doing videos. I've done videos, right? But it's more the unknown of, but how have you consistently done videos? Have you done a video every day? You could do a video every day. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour video. It could be a 7-minute video talking about fear or talking about whatever the fuck comes up. You can just start recording and go from there. And I realize that a lot of times I'm lazy like that, where I feel like the best thing I could do every day for my soul, I guess you could say, is to put out a video talking about whatever until I'm like, okay, I'm done talking, and also exercise to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done exercising, like I put in a good amount, and I specifically think about those things, pushing myself with teaching and sharing my insights, but also pushing myself in terms of exercise and physical body and challenging myself in that regard. And, it's something I struggle with. But I'm further and further pulling back the layer of why I don't do it. Because I feel comfortable on camera. This isn't even a live one. This is just me sitting here by myself recording. I don't have to deal with any people popping up and asking a random question or shit like that. So just the more I processed my avoidance of, doing videos or putting things out there, the more I've understood about myself, about why I don't do it, why I will take a month between videos when I have plenty of opportunities to do them. And it's not, and this is only me. No one's being like, hey, you didn't do any videos last month. Hey, we want more videos. But I know if I put out more videos, people would appreciate them. Because people see me all the time, like, oh, I watched your video. Yo, thank you. Or, they say something that was in the video. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I touched on that. So I know people do watch, and it's cathartic for me. It helps me synthesize and process these sort of topics, another way, because I'm processing them internally. I'm not necessarily saying them to myself out loud, right, as I am now. So it's a benefit to me at the end of the day, which is like, well, why wouldn't I do it? But I also, a lot of people benefit because, there's plenty of people who haven't heard of Chogyam Trungpa, who haven't heard shit about Buddhism or occult study or subconscious mind or shit like that. That's all I'm about now. So it's just breaking down my fear and also smiling at your fear. That's what the name of that book is, Smile at Fear. There is something to that. I feel that the more you're able to literally smile at fear, the more you can just neutralize in your life. There's a story, not in Smile at Fear, but in this book, When Things Fall Apart, which Pema Chödrön is or was Chogyam Trungpa's students, one of his most well-known students, right? And she said the first time she met him, I thought this was such a poignant story about dealing with fear. And it's just like literally like a literal lesson. So she said the first time she met him, he was at some school and he was talking to like this 4th grade class, and they were asking him about, if he was ever afraid, if he was, and just all these sort of questions. Because, Chogyam Trungpa infamously, the Chinese government was out here just killing monks and just putting them in labor camps. So him and a whole crew, left Tibet for India. And, some of them, not all of them, were able to get out. And it's a very interesting story. I have his biography, and I want to, learn more about that because, he wasn't just some monk out here meditating. He was like an 18-year-old monk, and then he had to help get all these people out of Tibet under death. So just imagine dealing with that. A young abbot. So so he was talking to this class about, and they're asking her these sort of things where if you've ever been afraid. And Pema says that he said essentially that, his teachers encouraged him to do a whole bunch of stuff he didn't like, which that was also very important for me to hear, because that's also an important thing. If you could say, going into your fears, right? Go into the things the unknown things that it's you don't want to do. He really just outlines this. Nope. It's important to explore those things in addition to things you don't like. Because just like with things you don't like, you'll learn about yourself when you explore these things. But if you always stay in the things you do like, you can learn about yourself. You can learn about your desires. Well, it's ooh, I love chocolate brownies because I love chocolate. Or the velvetyness of the brownies reminds me of the velvet sheets at my grandmother's childhood home. Or whatever the fuck, right? But you'll learn something. But if you're exploring what you don't like, you'll learn more about yourself than what you do like. Because aversion is generally stronger than whatever the opposite of aversion is, attraction. The things you're averse to, if you if you had a tray for somebody, right, someone and you had the food that they love the most and the food that they hate the most on the same tray, they could probably give you such a stark difference in their reaction based on those two objects, right? Or based on those two foods, right? What they love the most and what they hate the most, right? It can be so many reasons why they don't like the one or do like the other one, et cetera, et cetera. But their reaction will be very varied. Their reaction will be varied. And this shows you how wide our different personalities can be on different things. And so understanding one's aversion, understanding one's dislikes just really helps us understand, well, why don't you dislike that? That's the first question I have now. Whenever something comes up and I'm like, have just that feeling where it's like, I don't like this person, where it's like just meet someone and I'm like, they're talking to me, I'm like, I don't like this person. Just that instant reaction, or I just see something I don't like, or I hear, just whatever the case may be. My first response to myself is, well, why don't you like that? Why don't you like that? And most of the time, I would say 75% of the time, I can't really give a valid answer why I don't like it. You know, now things like food, I would give a little bit more credence to, because it's like you could just not like the taste. You know, I had golden berries. I never had golden berries recently. Took one taste. I was like, nope. Tangy? No. That was the most tangy fruit I've ever ate in my life. I'd rather eat a lemon than eat a fucking golden berry. That's not true. I don't understand y'all who eat lemons, by the way. Don't get that. Do not get that. And I feel like after the first time I saw that, someone do that, I've seen like so many people eat lemons, and I don't get it. I never was a Sour Patch Kids person. I was a very sweet person. And now some people were like, oh, fucking sweetness, fuck that. Give me sour any day of the week. But, you know, that's you. I get it. But yeah, I never got golden berries or Sour Patch Kids. But instantly, I had a very instant reaction. I was like, I tried it. I tried a golden berry. I don't even think I finished eating it. I was just like, I chewed it for a second. And I was like, no. It's too sour for me. And I gave it to my friend, and she was all about it. She was all about the sour. All the tangy. So, it wasn't for me. So there's something, you know, food, why don't you like it? That's why even with food, I'll share this story. So, since I've been doing this fruit feast thing, or generally just been eating more fruits, right? But specifically been doing this fruit feast thing where you only eat fruit, you know, for a whole month. And I never had a guava until a couple of weeks ago, right? You know, because I've been like, you know what, we need to try some of these fruits we've never tried before, you know, because most of the fruits I've had in my life have been, you know, apples and bananas and, you know, shit like that. Apples, bananas, oranges, some grapefruits in there, but tropical exotic fruits, no, it was never really, you know, I'm not from a tropical exotic fruit, you know, family, lineage, whatever you want to call it. So it was not even a thing that was presented to me when I was younger. It was apples, grapes, oranges, you know, shit like that. So I'm like, okay, let me expand outside my fruit comfort zone. So I get a guava, right? I didn't even know what a guava looked like. I thought guavas were fucking bigger, frankly. I was like, this is how big a guava is? I thought they were like the size of papayas or some shit. I was like, oh, this is a guava? Okay, sure. So I get it. And okay, so the first time I tried it, I was like, what? What is this mushy? Ugh. I like had a visceral, like, no. I had a visceral reaction to it, right? And I took like, I liked the taste, but it's just like the texture. I was like, no, what? And so whatever. So, but I had all these guavas, right? I had 7 more. So I'm like, okay, am I going to throw out 7 guavas? No. Okay. And something with doing this fruit feast challenge, I've never exclusively ate just fruit. So I've noticed that I have a different taste for fruit now. Like I find them much more delicious, which makes sense because I'm not eating a whole bunch of other crap, et cetera, et cetera. So I find just them more delicious. So then maybe a few days later, I'm at home and I'm like, I want to try a guava again. But like I had to give myself a pep talk. I was like, you know, let's forget everything we've ever known about guava, right? Because my only experience with guava before that was through like dessert pastries, and that's not a good representation, right? So I'm like, okay, let's just forget everything we know about guava. and just come in with a blank slate. Okay, so I did that. I had like a moment. I was like, okay, we need to relearn. This is us relearning just taste buds. And I was even thinking about something about how society is a lot about crunchy. Because, I was thinking about fruits and like, what's the crunchiest fruit? Like those crispy fruits, but like a crunchy fruit. Crunchy is like reserved to like cooked foods. So I was just thinking about that. Like, yeah, like society always wants you to be on some crispy shit. Chips, pizza, or crunchy, right? I mean, something could be, I had this whole thing about, can something be crispy and crunchy? Because crispy, the more I thought about it, crispy makes me think of something that is juicy, but also like has some like, yeah, it's tight, but it's juicy, but it's tight. Like a booty. It's juicy, but it's tight. And so I was just thinking about just textures of fruits. I was like, well, wait a minute. Because I even had a conversation about pears and apples where it's like, I got to have my apples crispy. But I was noticing like pears, I could have a pear that's not crisp and I'll still enjoy it. But that same texture for an apple, it's like, no. So I was thinking about that. So then I was like, but like I'll eat a banana and that's mushy and I won't eat a guava. I was like, that's interesting. And so then with all this, I went back, I love fucking guavas now. I fucking love guavas. It's just so funny. It's just, I went so night and day, but it took me kind of realizing that I sort of had a certain mindset around textures and food and what my expectations were. And once I kind of was like, fuck all that shit and threw that out the window, then once I like dipped back in specifically with that and even passion fruit, which I never had passion fruit before, and that was interesting because it was a whole experience I never had before. It's helped me just to just deal with the unknowns you haven't experienced and in just a way that, won't immediately turn you off, right? Because again, I asked myself, well, why didn't you like the guava? And I broke down because it's like, okay, the taste, it was delicious and sweet. So, okay, it's not the taste, the texture, but it's like, wait, you'll eat these other things that have maybe not the same texture, but they're close in texture, maybe not literally close in texture, but consistency. And I was like, why not this? And even so much so, going further, man, the most delicious thing I made recently, I took a banana, a passion fruit, and a guava, and mashed it all together and ate it. That was the fucking shit. That was my shit. That was definitely my shit. So anyways, that's my spiel about fear. Smile at fear. Chogyam Trungpa. Shambhala, the sacred path of the warrior. Chogyam Trungpa. Pema Chodron, when things fall apart. Even training the mind and cultivating love and kindness by Chogyam Trungpa. And also the great path of awakening by Jamgon Kongtrul. All excellent, great, wonderful books. If you're on the path and you need some inspiration, you need some insights to help you. So thanks for watching, and just smile at the fear. Oh, I didn't finish that Pema story. I didn't finish the Pema story. Okay, let me just finish that off, and I'm out of here. He was at this school. He was talking to these students about fear and things like that, and pursuing. I went on the tangent about things you don't like, which is very important. So when I guess they were walking, there was a dog in like a courtyard near where the school was that was like barking just like ridiculous at them, right? And they're all like, like Chogyam Trungpa's attendants were all like, oh my goodness, but he was like, oh, look at this, the dog, right? He was unfazed by it. This is my words, not necessarily Pema's. So anyways, so later on, they're outside somewhere, and this dog breaks loose off its chain and just comes darting towards them, right? Chogyam, the two attendants, and Pema, right? This nigga starts charging at the dog that's charging at them. So it's just full gallop, running at this dog. You know what the dog does? Dog tucks his tail and turns around and leaves. Yeah. And so, just hearing that story, and just kind of knowing about Chogyam's life and that he had to literally face mortal fear from getting captured by the Chinese government and killed, if not tortured and put into a, work camp, right? To get, into India. He wasn't just talk about that shit. He was like, yo, you got to smile at fear and fucking, if the situation presents itself, run at that shit. Because this made me think about just life, about if you want to neutralize fear, you have to run at it. You have to run at smiling. That's how you neutralize fear, is you have to run at it smiling, ear to ear grinning. Because, when they talk about like animals smell fear, I think the opposite is true. I think that's why that happened with that dog. Chogi was going so the other way, right? At the very least, he was probably protecting everybody else from that dog wiling out. Because he was like, yo, I'm going to run at this dog. And by running at this dog, the dog would be like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry. I thought I smelled some fear. I'll be on my way. Sorry. Because it was neutralizing the fear. It was not staying in the place of like, oh, I'm going to hope the dog doesn't come over and bite us. No, you run at that dog. You run at that fear. And I think there is something like metaphysical about that, about charging to your own fear, right? Marching towards your own fears and your own unknowns and your own just whatever. Just running right at it. So, that's it. Until next time, which ideally is it every day. So just smile at your fear, run at your fear, and don't look back. Just run right at it, okay? Folks. Bye. Oh, wait. No, hold on. Okay, bye.